Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So let's kick off our first of a weekly live stream about AI. Anything that you want to know, anything that pains you, anything that frustrates you, and it can be about AI. You might be like, I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I know that I need to learn it, but I haven't quite tried it yet. But more likely, you might just be having some frustrations or struggles about your usual workflow in your daily life, in your personal life or your professional life. Could be that you want to create more content. It could be that you want to grow your business. For example, maybe you've known for a long time that you need to do more marketing or better marketing, but you just don't seem to get around to it. You hear everybody talking, saying, you need to say have a social presence, or you need to do videos, and the experts say that, and sometimes they give you a really good handful of tips about it. But when you actually embrace AI and use it in your daily workflow, I guarantee you're going to find an incredible uptick in your productivity. So let's start by just talking about some of those main pains. And whenever you're watching this, I want you to listen carefully to the things I'm about to say and see which ones resonate for you. And we'll talk about these possible frustrations a little bit. And then I'll give you a demo. And today, I think I feel inspired to give you a demo on how to set up a GPT, your own GPT. So if you're new to ChatGPT, you probably already know that there's a free version and there's a paid version. The paid version is $20 a month, and it gets you ChatGPT 4.0, which has more up-to-date info, and you can also use the keyword research to have it browse for extremely up-to-date info, and it has much more powerful capabilities, and it's just a little more unlimited and souped up. And one of the things that it gives you is the ability to create your own GPT. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. It's all in this sidebar up here that you can hide if you want, but you can unfurl it if you want to. But before we get into that, let's just talk a little bit about what are some of the common pains that I hear about. Well, by far, the number one pain that people feel, and then they find some relief, and sometimes massive relief, is information overload. People are generally just like drowning in a sea of information. And like Tony Robbins says, they're starving for wisdom. There's so much coming at us all the time. How would it be if when someone recommends to you a huge long technical document or a book, and maybe you're even really interested in it, but then it's like 500 pages long, or a constant stream of articles that are recommended with, this is a must, you need to look at this. How would it be if you could get a very good summary of those? That's so easy with ChatGPT or other AI tools. You just say summarize, and you can get a really good take on what it is. And then you can either walk away saying, okay, I got the summary, or you can know, if you're inspired, you can dive in deeper. So information overload is a huge one. Another one that I see in my chart here from a recent survey is, I'm unsure of what to do. I just don't know where to begin. So that's what I'm here for. I'll help you by sharing with you tools. And for those of you who don't know, I'm doing a live every day for 30 days. And then we'll settle into this once a week. So my other lives that I do, they may only be 2 minutes. They may be 5 minutes. But we're going to sit down here and have a fireside chat once a week at least, for at least an hour, and really be able to dive deep on some subject. So you can know exactly what to do. I don't want anybody not taking action because of confusion, because some sort of vagueness about it or some sort of unease about it holds you back. So that brings up some other possible, I don't want to call them pain points, but just maybe obstacles. One is I'm really afraid that AI, if I put my stuff into it, like I'm working on some creative content, and I'm worried that if I put my stuff into it, everybody else is going to get it. And I just want to reassure you that it doesn't work that way. It's not at all like storing your stuff in a repository somewhere that some unscrupulous people can get to, or that it could inadvertently then send out to somebody else, your competitor, who might use that. It takes in massive, massive amounts of data and looks for patterns. It looks for patterns that it can then use to recreate, but more of like, not on a word by word basis, but think of it like as a chunk of words kind of basis. So it looks for patterns and then it just generates new content. It doesn't take a big snippet and say, here, these are the facts. And that's why you may have heard this fact that sometimes it can get things wrong. It can say this stream of language into a way that really sounds like it's true, but when you read it back, you go, no, that's not true. For instance, when I first started using it, I looked up information about somebody that I really admired and respected, and it gave me quotes back that this person had said, and they sounded exactly like something that she might say. But when I looked it up in references, that indexes, she never said those things. Not in that word, not exactly explicitly. So especially with quotes, you want to double check it. But my point here is that it's not this thing that you have to worry about. A related concern that some people have, and again, listen for these to see which ones resonate with you, and then let me know. Tell me, either in the comments down below or drop me a line in some other way, either my website, jimpeek.com, or jim@productiveandhappy.com. And let me know what's really resonating with you. And by the way, I would really love it if you subscribed to my channel, or give this a thumbs up on this video, or comment down below, or share this video with someone else that you know that could really use help with utilizing AI to make their lives easier. Or all four of those. If you can help me out in those ways, 1, 2, 3, or 4 of those ways, that would really help, because what that does is, guess what? YouTube uses AI. And everybody's talking about AI as this. There's been an explosion since ChatGPT came out. But AI has been with us for a long, long time in a whole bunch of different ways. It's just ways that haven't rang the alarm bells as much. For instance, how does Google Gmail tell what's spam? I went away from other email programs and to Google Gmail because all of a sudden I wasn't being bombarded with as much spam. Now that's not so much the case anymore. I mean, there's still billions of spam sent every day, and a lot of it's coming to my inbox, it seems. And thankfully, a lot of it goes into the spam folder. So Gmail does a good job, but there are a lot that are still coming to me into my inbox. But anyways, it's using AI. Photo editing programs have used AI in minor ways, and now, for instance, Adobe Photoshop has very, very clearly stated ways of using AI to help you, like help you with selecting background, removing background. Um, and it's been around for a long time, and um, it's just exploding some more. So another concern that I was starting to say is I just don't want to lose my authentic voice. This is me. I like how I write. I enjoy what comes out. I may not like the entire writing process. It may be laborious, but I really don't want to lose my particular voice. And I hear you on that. I definitely get that. Being a creative myself with both words and photos, I don't want to lose that unique voice. But this is how I look at it. I have always especially struggled with writing that first word. I remember when I went to college, I wanted to be a great American novelist. And I learned a lot about English literature. I wrote some short stories in some creative writing classes. But as far as my project of writing that great novel, that great American novel, I basically stared at a blank page or a blank screen on a little Macintosh computer for 4 years. And I just didn't get anywhere with it. And I wrote dozens and dozens of papers doing an analysis of a book or an author. And in those, also, the difficult time was getting it all out, was getting the initial stuff out on the page. That's where AI, generative AI, really comes in and helps. So you can think of it almost like you're getting a brainstorming buddy, you're getting a generating partner, and you're moving a little bit away from author of everything, in control of everything in all aspects of the path, to editor. More like, okay, I'm going to take this work and I'm going to have this conversation. I'm going to have this dialogue. And I'm going to always choose what I really like. So for me, it makes me even more authentic. It makes me more of my own voice. And it certainly allows me to share more. And I, I just, there's this metaphor of every one of us has gold in us. We have these gold and these gems that we get to share with the world. It's our unique gift. It's our value that we give to the world. Everybody does. But do you know where the most of that gold is? Do you know where the majority of those gems are? In the graveyard. The majority of them people take to their grave because they never get it out. And it might be that there's hesitations or fears or, what if I fail or what if I'm not good enough? But it might also be that they just couldn't get past, say, this initial stage of getting something to work with. Try it out and see how it goes. Give it a try with a little mini project. If you like to write poems or a chapter of a book, just try one chapter or one poem and go through the process and see if at the end of the result, because you made the adjustments, you made the changes, you read through it again and again, fine-tooth comb, like you would with anything that you're writing, but you came to that process, that stage of the process of editing with fresh energy, with fresh energy. I remember when I've written my books about photography, I would write a first draft and send it to the editor and get back all these notes and then write another draft and then another and another. And it was over a dozen iterations. And then, guess what? I was nowhere near done. They would say, okay, now we have the idea of the rough thing. And then I would enter this grinding process of fact checking and going over it again and again and reading out loud because I wanted it to be the very best gift that I could give. And that part, though, was difficult. because by the time I got to that point, I had gone through a lot of work already. This is like each one took over a year. It was a long process with a lot of work. So now I get to that stage of editing and I'm fresh and I feel really good about it. So it could actually give you more productivity and more authenticity. And the only way you're going to know is if you try it out and you go through your work and you go, yeah, this is really me. When I read it out loud, and that's always key, read it out loud so you can really go slow and hear it. That is an essential step. Then you'll be able to tell whether it's really you or not. Other common problems that I see here are that I need help figuring out what to create and what to produce. I need help, figuring out. And also, there's one here that says, I need help. I wish I had access to a thought leader, and that's a really interesting one. So we have, I need help figuring out what to make, and especially what to make because what are my customers' needs? I need help figuring out. Everyone has customers. You have readers, you have customers if you're self-employed or you have a business, and it's so key to really get to know them and to live in their thought process. In marketing, for example, they say that you need to enter the conversation that's going on in your customer's head, in your ideal client's thought process. So ChatGPT can really help with that. But that other one that I mentioned, I wish I had access to a thought leader. Somebody that you really admire. Think of somebody right now. Is there somebody that you think of that you go, I really love what they do? And it could be an author that's alive or has passed on. It could be a creative, a songwriter or a poet. It could be a playwright like Shakespeare. It could be somebody who is a great business person that you admire, an entrepreneur. And again, they could be still around, but inaccessible. Maybe they have 50 gatekeepers, and it's going to take an extraordinary amount of energy to even get in front of them. Well, you can, with ChatGPT, say, be so and so, and do this. So I'm trying to think of a really good example that I could give you that would be very quick. Of course, I could say be Shakespeare if I had some question in mind. Then I have lots of people that I admire. Most of them are in my particular areas of interest. One that I'll just share with you, you may have heard of Frank Kern and Jeff Walker. These are two guys that I really admire in the online marketing space. They're very real, down-to-earth, personable people that I've met in person, have had great conversations with, and have gotten unfathomable value, unfathomable gold. They've gotten their gold out there. So what I did was in my ChatGPT, I created in the instructions some instructions that say, whenever I say Frank J, stands for Frank and Jeff, give me what they would say. So let's do this for fun here. Let's just go Frank J. What are the top pain points of people of beginners, first trying out generative AI. And because it knows that, it's going to take on that persona. It's a composite of Frank Kern and Jeff Walker. And Frank and Jeff, if you're watching, thank you. I appreciate the ability to have this conversation with you. I really love what you do. And I hope we get to talk again in person sometime in the near future. But in the meantime, I'm going to appease my need by doing this. And look at how much how much ideas I can go through this and then take what really sounds right to me. It says when beginners first try out generative AI, they encounter several pain points that can hinder their progress or even dissuade them from continuing. And we can make this a lot easier just by going, hey.
When beginners first try out generative AI, they often encounter several pain points that can hinder their progress or even dissuade them from continuing.
True.
Here are the top pain points they typically face. 1. Overwhelm from complexity.
Amen.
Generative AI tools can appear highly complex and technical, leading to feelings of overwhelm.
Yeah.
Beginners often struggle with understanding the jargon, concepts, and processes involved, which can make the learning curve seem steep.
That's why I'm here.
2. Fear of making mistakes.
Yes.
The fear of doing something wrong, especially in creative fields, can be paralyzing. Beginners may worry about generating poor results, wasting time, or even damaging their reputation if they share something that isn't well received. 3.
Amen. I get that.
Unclear value proposition. Many beginners are uncertain about how generative AI can specifically benefit them or their work.
Sure.
Without a clear understanding of the practical applications and advantages, they might find it difficult to justify investing time and effort into learning the tools. Number 4,
Why?
difficulty in finding reliable resources. The abundance of information can be both a blessing and a curse. Beginners often struggle to find trustworthy, beginner-friendly resources that guide them step by step without overwhelming them with unnecessary details.
Oh.
5, technical challenges and setup. Getting started with generative AI often involves installing software, configuring settings, or dealing with compatibility issues. These technical hurdles can be a significant barrier for beginners who aren't tech savvy. Number 6.
And I'll pause it right there because that was one of the topics that I've done in one of my previous lives. I walked you through how I used AI to overcome the technical complexity of setting up this live streaming software.
When beginners first try out generative
Okay, so it's starting over, so we don't need to do that. And it just goes on to say that it has lack of immediate feedback. Okay, their outputs can be unpredictable. It can hallucinate answers that aren't correct. And so you have to have some confidence in your ability to say, yes, this is true. No, that's not true. There's time consumption. Yeah, I'm a real nerd about it. I love diving in, but other people might be like, I just want to do enough to get back to it. I don't want to have another thing that is consuming all of my time. It's not that way. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm a lifelong learner and I love to take courses. And I learn so much in these courses. And every time there seems to be this promise that it's going to make my life easier. And I'm still so grateful that I went through the course when I'm done, but it doesn't necessarily make my life easier. It's like, okay, it's another path that I'm on. That mastery eludes me, but I get some gems here and there, but there's still this feeling of like, I don't have enough time to read all that material. I don't have enough time to watch all those videos. So ethical concerns and uncertainty for sure. There are issues about that. Inconsistent results. Yeah, we talked about that already. How AI is kind of a crazy genius. Integration with existing workflows. And by the way, whenever I do these lives, feel free to chat. Feel free to let me know in the middle of anything exactly what you're going through, and I'd be happy to help. And I would love to hear what you say. Hey there, and I'll just get the chat going in case. And my chat window is taking a while to load, so I will just keep that window open, and we'll just keep cruising along. So we've talked a lot about the different pain points, and many of you taking my survey have helped me name the course that I'm producing, and the winners seem to be AI Easy as Pie and AI Mastery Formula, with more leaning towards AI Mastery Formula. And I think that's what I'm going to give you. That sounds exactly right. That sounds correct. But what we really want is that feeling of I got it. I got it. And I've followed this step-by-step process to really understand it. And then a third one is unleash AI potential. So feel free, to go ahead and in the comments, let me know what you like best. AI easy as pie is number one. AI mastery formula is number two. And unleash AI potential is number three. So those are some of the easy ones that we got. Okay, so we've used ChatGPT just to be one of those figures. So think right now, who do you love? That's maybe, maybe they eat at the popular kids table and you're not quite sure if you want to walk over there and try to knock on their door and get the chance to ask a question. Or even if you do screw up the courage to go up there and talk to them, maybe they have a whole bunch of their buddies keeping them safe and protected because they're hit with tons of inputs, tons of requests every day. So you can come here and have a conversation. It's a great way to go. All right, so creating a GPT, what does that mean? So we have the free version of ChatGPT. Then we have the ChatGPT Plus, which is also referred to as ChatGPT 4.0. But of course, there's going to be a 5, and there's going to be a 6, and there's going to be 7. So when you buy it, it's easy, 20 bucks a month, and it's ChatGPT Plus. I highly recommend it. But of course, I'm at that level where I just love it. You may want to just try out different things. There's lots of AI tools out there. You can use Gemini. You'll find AI in the program that you use likely. And sometimes it's a version of ChatGPT, sometimes it's not. But look and see which ones really make the most sense to you. For instance, when I first started, there were several that I tried that just didn't really stick. Had too much of a marketing element, too much of kind of an affiliate push to it. So when ChatGPT became clear to me as this is an option, when a friend really said, you really gotta do this, try the Plus version, I went for it and I've never looked back. And I have so many conversations with it every day. I don't think I would ever try going without it. Of course, things are going to change, so we don't know how things will develop. Above all, it takes adaptability, it takes flexibility. But those are the two versions. But within ChatGPT, you can create your own. It's called a GPT, and it's like a way of focusing so that it's not all the knowledge, all the data that has been collected, but you can provide it with some things that you really like, just to focus on some particular things. And what you do is you go here to explore GPTs in this sidebar. And once you're in there, you can look at the other ones that are there, and each one you can click on it and check it out. You can see the ratings that it gets. This writing assistant gets some really good ratings. So it's a code interpreter for data analysis, enhanced writing and editing support. That sounds pretty cool. There's market research and competitive analysis. So if I were to go in here and use this one, it gets 4.3, very similar. And I were to start a chat here and say the same thing that we said just a moment ago. Let me just get this AI content creation job titles using AI for tasks. Top generative AI challenges. I'm just going to go up here and I'll take out the Frank J part and I'll just ask it the same thing and come back to that GPT. Let's see here. There we go. Give us a little more real estate and come in here and say, what are the top pain points of not beginners that knew what I meant though, first trying out generative AI. And it's similar to the way it starts. When beginners first try out generative, they encounter several pain points. These challenges range from technical difficulties to conceptual misunderstandings. So this sounds familiar. There's understanding the tools. So it has each one broken down differently. You're never going to get the same answer, even if I was just using ChatGPT 4.0. But this one has things grouped, steep learning curve. And under that, there's natural learning the AI concepts and navigating the jargon. And there's data quality and availability. Number 4 is model performances and expectations. So it's different, and there are similarities. So I don't know what data has been inputted to this market research and competitive analysis GPT, but it's interesting how it feels, how it works, how it seems to work. So let's go back to the GPT and let's create one. Let's go ahead and go through the steps of creating one. And what could we do a GPT about? We could do one about content creation, something like how to create content and optimize it. We could have an AI-powered photography assistant. Well, that sounds kind of cool. That's right up my wheelhouse. And it could help photographers with creative prompts, composition tips, lighting, and suggestions. This all sounds really good, and common photography challenges. It could also have suggestions for improving types of shots like portraits, landscapes, and photography, product photography. And then another option could be, let's see here. On my other computer, I pulled up we have a personal development coach. We could have one just on overcoming limiting beliefs. That's great. How about an AI-powered business strategist? And there's a creative writing and storytelling assistant. AI in education, a teacher's toolkit. A life organizer. That one would manage daily tasks, appointments, help you set your goals. Number 10 is a resilience and adaptability trainer. Wow, that's interesting. So we would do a GPT focus on building resilience and adaptability in the face of challenges. You could offer exercises, scenarios, reflection prompts to help users strengthen their mental and emotional resilience. And now, what I'm thinking about when I'm doing this idea generation using GPT as my brainstorming buddy is I'm looking for something that I could have a substantial amount of data on. That's the ideal. If you already have, think about in your experience, if you have a lot of data on something, you're an expert in something, you've experienced life, and you may or may not have it written down and gathered, and that's okay. You work with whatever you have. But if you do have something where you have maybe a database of information, so say for example, if you are self-employed or if you run a small business and you've been collecting data about your customers, as in like what their preferences are, what they like, not personal information, but just like you've probably heard that it's ideal in marketing to have a persona, a buyer persona, a real deep understanding of who your ideal client is. Well, if you've done that, if that happens to resonate for you, you could put that into your chat GPT so that whenever you want, you could come have a conversation with your ideal customer to get, say, new product ideas or ways to improve your current services. So that's one. So with all of these, I'm looking for that. I'm looking like, what could I enter in as information that would really help it? And think about if you have lots of writing experience, you've probably read lots of books about different writing guidelines from generation to grammar to editing. So you look for something that you could do. And let's just go through the process, and I think that will make it a little bit more clear. So let's do that. Yeehaw! Let's go. All right. And it's not going to be... No, it's going to be... Yeehaw! All right, here we go. Create this GPT. Over here, plus sign, create. Let's go, and it's going to walk you through this process. We're in the create mode. Hey, I'll help you build one. You can say something like, make a creative who helps generate visuals for new products, or make a software engineer who helps format my code. So I don't yet, although I got kind of excited about that, I don't think I yet have a lot of information about resilience and adaptability training, or a life organizer, or a health and wellness tracker. Although I'm really into health and wellness, I don't have a lot of data and like principles or things that I could enter about that. Off the top of my head, probably if I did some digging, and that would be another part of it, is look around your computers, look around your papers, look around anything that you have. And I go up to the top 4 are AI-powered business strategist, coach, creative content and optimization guide, and AI-powered photography assistant. So let's just go with photography because it's easy, and I want to give you this example. It's easy for me because you may or may not know that I've had a photography education business since 1996. So I have a lot of information on it. I've written a lot of how-to guidebooks on photography. So let's say that. Let's say, okay, make a photography guide, make a hilarious, no, you don't want to say hilarious because ChatGPT is still needs a little help with humor, but you could give it a model of someone that you really like, and it will do that. If there's a certain level of humorous storytelling, and that kind of. But what we really want is a photography guide, and who suggests creative ideas, composition tips, and I would normally just copy and paste this, but lighting suggestions, troubleshooting common challenges, and answers to common questions that, well, who's this going to be for? Beginning photographers of all levels, really. But we'll say, yeah, which is that photographers have, that photography enthusiasts have, that photography enthusiasts have. Okay, and it could offer different types of shots, portraits, landscape, product photography. Its purpose is here, as it's being suggested to me, is to enhance creativity and problem solving in photography, engage your audience with AI tools. So why not? Let's say that. This is what I would like to make. And now it's updating it already. So it's starting to create it. It's as simple as that. And as you go, it's going to ask, what do you want to name it? Okay. And how about Photocraft Mentor? No, I don't really like that one. It's saying over here on this side how it's going to preview, and it's saying your photography guide offering tips, ideas, and answers for enthusiasts. So let's try another name. Try another and work better photo into it. That's my brand name. Okay. And there's not going to be much space left. Or the Better Photo Guru. Let's try again. And I forgot to type out again, so I just put try. Let's see what it does. Okay, it took that as an example. So it's now called the Better Photo Guru. And it's generating a picture. Now, of course, I can change that. But that looks great to me. I could change it, but if I do, this will be gone. So I'm going to go ahead and go with that, and I'm going to say the picture is perfect. Name needs something else. So, okay. Well, it's called Better Photo Guide. That sounds great. Okay. So, perfect. So you're just having a conversation, and its prompts already are, how can I improve my portrait composition? What lighting setup is best for outdoor shoots? Give me some creative ideas for a natural photo shoot. And what are the basics of using natural light effectively? So now we have a GPT named this, and let's refine how it interacts. What should it focus on or avoid when providing advice? Okay, so I wanted to focus on making the complicated simple and avoid the curse of expertise. Now that is usually when people become experts in what they do, they tend to forget what it was like to be a beginner. And so they explain things with lots of jargon, and the beginner comes into it, like with AI, you may hear things rattled off really quickly and you're just like, slow down. I don't know what you're talking about, because the expert forgets what it was like to be a beginner. So it says, got it, we're going to do that. Would you like to refine anything else, such as how it communicates or any other aspect? So yeah, actually, let's have some fun and say, yeah, make it, oh, make it always talk in this is going to be iffy, but comedic voice, in a humorous voice, in a humorous storytelling manner. And I'm trying to think off the top of my head about who is a comedian that is a storytelling manner. So I'm just going to ask ChatGPT over here, who is a comedian that does great storytelling, and let's just see what it comes up with. Mike Birbiglia. I really enjoyed Mike Birbiglia, so why the heck not? We're going to say like Mike. I was going to go with Steve Martin, but I wasn't sure if that would actually translate to make this a fun experience for us to use. Mike Birbiglia. Okay, and it's updating the GPT with it. Now, at some point, ideally, like I said, I would add lots of info. So let's go ahead and keep going. Is there anything else to tweak? Yeah, we will. But what we're going to do is we're just going to go over here to the configure. And by the way, this GPT is set up as a draft, and it's not published yet. And we'll be able to do that later. We can come over here to the three dots and delete it if we want to. But right now, it's just a draft. But we're going to go to configure here, and it kind of gives us a summary, and it gives us another place to change some of the things. The picture, the name, the description, and they added humorous in there. If that wasn't in there before, that's great. And these instructions, it acts as a guide providing creative ideas, tips, lighting suggestions. So if we wanted to add more, we could add more into this section. It's a pretty good summary, and it even includes now the new thing of talking in a humorous storytelling manner, similar to Mike Birbiglia. And it's interesting to give it someone to model. And we'll see also if it has a lot of information on Mike Birbiglia. ChatGPT over here did suggest him, and it said here, he's renowned for his ability to blend humor with deeply personal and often poignant stories. And if you haven't had a chance to watch on Netflix, I think it's called Jokes Are a Gift. What is his Netflix show called? And it's saying the new one. That's a different one. No, the one about God and gift. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, thank God for jokes. So see, isn't that fun that I could just have this conversation with it right now to get you the right answer, so you know now when you're done, when you're relaxing, to check out Thank God for Jokes if you haven't already. It's Mike's best work, and I really, really enjoy it and recommend it. Um, so it has that in the instructions, and then it has these 4 conversation starters. If I didn't like any of these, we could change them so that it always starts with something like this. And because I tend to find that maybe it's just my audience. Yes, there is a group of us, a subgroup who love to do portraits, but more love to go out and do nature and landscapes. So let's just say, how can I improve my composition? And let's see how that goes. And maybe we'll go back to adding something like nature and landscape. What lighting setup is best for outdoor shoots? That's another one that's already good for portraiture. So we're already handling that. Give me some creative ideas for a nature shoot. Okay, we got nature there. And what are the basics of using natural light effectively? That's perfect. Okay, because that's not like studio lighting or strobes. And then the knowledge. Now, this is the part where it's really helpful. If you can upload files under knowledge, conversations with your GPT may include file contents. Files can be downloaded when code interpreter is enabled. So here we have a place to upload something. So why don't we just give this a shot? If we're going to go here, we could go get something. So let's go to another tab and go to my site, and let's go to, I think we'll probably find the best thing at my top 10 tips. We'll just try this out. And unfortunately, they're all broken down into different pages. But just for the sake of demonstration, we'll take, and again, you usually want a lot more. In fact, we want a lot more information. So let's go here to the guidelines on how to win the photo contest. And we're just going to take this, and we can copy and paste it into something. But because I don't think it will take this URL. Yes, it has to be something else. But what we can do is just download this file. We can save this page, and that way it'll be easy to get to. I'm just going to go ahead and do it into downloads, and let's just see how this works. I have not done an HTML file, but we're going to go ahead and just try this out in downloads, and you can see all my crazy thumbnails. And there is the HTML document. So we're going to go here and upload that file and say, now this is a little related because it's a little off too, but it's closer. It's my guide on what we're really looking for in the photography contest. So it's just an example of data that you would want. If you've written a book, maybe you would want to put the contents of that book in here to support your guide. And like I said, if you have a big database that tells all the survey responses of the past 20 years of your customers, again, taking out the personal identifiable information and just having it be that, off the top of your head that say 70% of your customers buy online, and 70% buy in store or in a brick and mortar. Or that 70% of your customers also really love track and field, or they tend to drive BMWs. Whatever you can put it in here if you're building that kind of GPT. I hope that makes it really clear. Capabilities, yes, we do want it to do web browsing, and we do want it to make images. So there we go, we have it. So what do you do now? Well, you have this thing here, you have this preview. Well, first you try it out. And you go, let's see, in our last 10 minutes, this is perfect timing. We'll wrap it up, and this will give you a really good tour so that you can move forward with your own GPT. So we're going to ask this photo guide, what is the best time of day to photograph landscapes. Okay, and let's see what it says. Okay. All right, so it says the best time of day to photograph landscapes is during the golden hour. Yes, which occurs shortly after sunrise and before sunset. This is very true. It's a fantastic time to photograph. And by the way, I'm not reading, but I'm just saying, if you want to get beautiful night shots, stick around after sunset. And if you're photographing, say, a city scene, that like 15, 20, 25 minutes after sunset on a clear night can be the most beautiful kind of purple sky. And once you get beyond that, it's like a black sky. And once you see the difference, you'll always go for that time right after sunset. During these times, the golden hours, before sunset and after sunrise, the sun is low in the sky, casting a warm, soft light that enhances colors and adds depth and dimension to your images. Yes, this light also creates long shadows and a pleasing contrast, which can make your landscape photos more dramatic and visually appealing. If you prefer cooler tones and a softer look, the blue hour, which happens just before sunrise and after sunset, that's funny, can also be a fantastic time for capturing stunning landscapes. Just what I was talking about. Okay, and tell me a story about how you learned this. I'm just trying something there. All right, let's see. The tale of how I discovered the magic hour. Picture this, a much younger, more naive version of me, eager to conquer the world of landscape photography, but blissfully unaware of the importance of light. One day, I decided to wake up early, well, early for me at least, and head out to capture a beautiful mountain range that I had been eyeing for weeks. Eyeing a mountain range. I was determined. I had my camera bag packed, snacks ready, because who can focus on an empty stomach? And a vague idea of where the sun would be rising. What could go wrong? Well, I arrived at the spot just as the first rays of sunlight started to peek over the horizon. I was mesmerized. The world was bathed in a soft, golden light, and the mountains looked like they were glowing from within. I quickly set up my camera and started snapping away, thinking to myself, why does everything look so much better right now? After I got home and started reviewing the photos, I was blown away at how rich and vibrant the colors were, how the shadows added a depth that I never managed to capture before. It was like I had discovered a secret ingredient that made everything better. Later, I did some research and learned that I had stumbled upon what photographers call the golden hour. I realized that the photos I had taken at that magic time were far superior to the ones I had taken at midday when the light was harsh and unflattering. The experience taught me a valuable lesson about the importance of light in photography. Now, whenever someone asks me for landscape photography tips, I always tell them to chase the light during the golden hour. It's like having a natural Instagram filter for your photos, but way better. So that's not the most exciting story, but it's pretty good and fun. And we can ask it, what is the best camera to buy? And now, if I were to just say that, it might not trigger that thing that we saw in the configuration over here, web browsing. So we're going to say research. What is the best camera to buy? And tell me, this is risky. Tell me a joke. All right, and so we got, it's researching, it's searching, okay. If you're in the market for a camera in 2024, the Fujifilm X-T5 is a standout option for photography enthusiasts. Then it goes on to talk about all the technical details, classic design, and it's a much more tactile experience. And has 4K video, it looks like. Great camera. Okay, and then it talks about the Panasonic Lumix, give you some options. And then here's the joke. Why did the camera apply for a job? because it wanted to focus on its career. So there we go. We have a start of a GPT. Ideally, for the sake of time, I'm stopping short, but I would add much more details. I would add as much as I could, honestly. And if you upload a file, let's try something else. Let's try taking another file. Let's go ahead and go to an article, and we'll just say, well, it's a simple article, but my top 3 photography tips by Jim Zuckerman, and a couple other instructors, and how to photograph baby animals. Let's just do that. If I come here to save this one, and we say save as, okay, I can still only save as HTML. I was wondering if I could save it as a PDF just to test that. So for the sake of time, we won't, but you can test that out and see if you can do that. And what I was getting at is you just want it to be as efficient of information as possible. In the past, when I've created very, very big GPTs, it would say, that's too much, try something else. So I had to think really creatively, and I ended up importing CSV files, comma separated files, and that's a super efficient way to get data into something. And it works really well when you have a database, but you can often save things out of Excel, for instance, or Google Sheets as CSV files. So there we have it. Okay, so then what we do is I'm going to go back to create, and I'm going to say publish. And just make it go from being a draft. It's now ready to assist you with tips and ideas. And would you like anything else? And no, I think we're all good. We have something that we could work with. And let's go ahead and actually try a couple of things. Create an image of AI making a nature photo in golden light, in the golden hours. So you can make images. You can attach images. So we could go here, save image. This is a photo I shot of a raccoon. I'm going to save that to my downloads and go back and see what it's done. That's pretty cool. So I'm going to download that, and I could also say try again, but for now I'm going to actually go to here and upload a photo and say, okay, tell me what's great and what I can improve about this photo. Let's see if it handles this. Okay, so it's analyzing it now. The photo of the raccoon is adorable and has several strong elements, but there's also room for improvement. So what's great? The subject, he's the star here. The positioning within the hollow is perfect. And it goes on, it's peeking out, has a sense of curiosity and charm. Oh, isn't that cute? It's adorable. The composition is solid, and it goes on with the details of that and the texture of the tree. The lighting is soft, it's perfect. I love it. And the focus is sharp on the raccoon's face, especially the eyes. Let's go back, and yep, the eyes are sharp. That's so important. And the areas for improvement, background blur, bokeh, absolutely, why not? So I could work in a program like Photoshop and work to soften that background even more and bring that sharp eye focus even more to the forefront. Contrast and color saturation, that's the thing that first jumped off the page to me. Photography continues to advance for me and for everybody. When I look back at my old photos, I've learned so much about how to make them pop more. So I'd love to go back to that photo and about 3,000 others and make them pop. It's one of those things when I have time. And lighting enhancement. The light on the raccoon is good, but adding a soft vignette could help draw in. I like that idea too. And what I like about it is that's actionable. I can't go back and change the way the sunlight was hitting it, but I can go back and add a slight vignette, keyword slight. And the way you do that is add the vignette until you see it and then back off a little bit. So it's almost subconscious. Now the angle and perspective, a slightly lower and more side angle would provide a more damaging. Yeah, maybe, but again, I can't go back and reshoot it, and that's pretty good in my opinion. I have other shots where I'm much lower, and they are fun. This is more of a standard Ranger Rick kind of portrait. So that's it for creating a GPT. I do have to go in here because I do see that it still says drafts. So I went back to the main, and now I'm going to click on my GPTs. And I'm going to see these other ones that I have, and this one's right here. The only thing that I can do is the only thing that I could do, oh, I remember, it's so dumb, it's staring me right in the face, is make it live. So we have to create. We click the create button, and then anyone with a link can do this, and maybe I'll do that so I could share it with you in the link. I could put it in the store, and it will appear where others can enjoy it as well. Why not? We'll go ahead and do that. And it's going to be in the category of education. Why not? How to. And I'm going to click save. Now I'll add to that as time goes by. That's the other fun thing about it. You don't have to worry about making it perfect. It's an organic document, and as you go and work it, there may become times when you need some refinement. So you can add that. You can continually add to it. So we're going to view the GPT here. There it is, ready to go. Everyone else will be able to see that. And I recommend for you that you create them as only for you, or as anyone with a link if you have colleagues that you'd like to share it with for the time being. And then once you get really familiar with it, and if you feel good, and one last thing, if you're using any sensitive data, anything that the intellectual property rights, the IP, keep it private, obviously, but if you're using stuff that's questionable, then just keep it something that is private. This was something that I all owned, so I could share that. And this is the guide. I could start a new chat. I could look at the about, and here's where I can go back and edit it. I can come back here and get into this creation wizard, and over here is where you create, you tell it what to do. Over here is where you test it. Or I could come in here to the configure and change things and then update, and I can share it here. So it's published, it's ready to go. I hope that helps you. And I'm really grateful that you came and enjoyed my first full hour live stream. Have a wonderful time this week. I look forward to sharing with you in the next week. Go out there, try one tool, give it a shot, and let me know how it goes. Again, remember, if you've enjoyed this, if you found value in it, give this video a thumbs up, and be awesome. Subscribe to my channel and hit that little bell so you get notified when there's something new here. And if you like, comment below. And this time, tell me what stood out to you and what you would like to try, whether it's creating your own GPT or some other tool, or tell me what's holding you back, what's preventing you from moving forward. All right, look forward to seeing how you take this and run with it, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye for now.